Assalamualaikum to Prof. Today I will be sharing my answers for tutorial for court system, which is for question 3, and I will be sharing my answers with my groupmate, which is Batrisyia binti Khairulazhar.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Batrisyia binti Khairulazhar. I'm from class Group E. So I will be explaining question number 3 under the topic of the court system. So the question is, Edward, a British citizen, is an affluent businessman and has recently entered into a business deal with a sultan in his personal capacity. The said deal, however, has turned sour. Edward now intends to sue the sultan for breach of contract. So the question is, state the jurisdiction and composition of the court that can hear Edward's case. Explain the prerequisites that have to be met before the matter can be heard by the court. 10 marks. So my answer is, regarding the question of whether Edward intends to sue Sultan for breach of contract, he will be heard in the special court. The special court was established in 1993 under Part XB, Article 182 of the Federal Constitution. The court comprises a Chief Justice of the Federal Court, the Chairman, Chief Judge of the High Courts of Malaya, Chief Judge of the High Court of Sabah and Sarawak, and 2 other judges who hold or have held office as judges of the Federal Court, Supreme Court, or a High Court. These two judges are to be appointed by the Conference of Rulers. Special Court was established pursuant to Article 182 of the Federal Constitution with jurisdiction over cases involving the rulers of the states of Malaysia and the Yang di-Pertuan Agong (YDPA). Under Article 182, Article 182, Clause 3 of the Federal Constitution provide that the Special Court shall have exclusive jurisdiction to try all offences committed in the Federation by the YDPA or the ruler of a state and all civil cases by or against the YDPA or the ruler of a state notwithstanding where the cause of action arose. The court hears all criminal cases involving alleged offences committed by the rulers of or the YDPA and all civil cases involving them. The prerequisite that has to be met before the matter can be heard by the court is that no civil or criminal action can commence against YDPA or the ruler of a state in respect of anything that done or committed or omitted to be done by him in his personal capacities, except with the consent of the Attorney General, personally as stated in Article 183 of the Federal Constitution. This means that to commence an action against the YDPA, consent of the Attorney General is needed. Other than that, only Malaysian citizens can sue the YDPA. This can be seen in the only case of Farida Begum binti Abdullah and Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah, Mustain Billah, 1996, 1 Malayan Law Journal, 617 page. In the following case, the plaintiff was a Singaporean businesswoman and the defendant was the Sultan of Pahang. Farida claimed that the Sultan had committed libel against her and sued for damages. The Attorney General consented to the case, permitting the special court to hear it. However, the court held that none of the non-citizens of Malaysia can sue the Malaysian Sultan or rulers or YDPA. Therefore, Farida's claim was unsuccessful. In conclusion, from the above matters, Edward's case will be heard in the special court. Thank you.
Next, I will be sharing my answer for question 3B. So the question is, state the jurisdiction and composition of the court that can hear this case. 10 marks. My answer is, the issue is which court has the jurisdiction to try his case. The court which has the jurisdiction to try his case is Magistrate Court. The court is established under Section 76 Subordinate Courts Act 1948. According to Section 81 of Subordinate Court Acts 1948, the Magistrate Court is seated by one magistrate and appointed from Judicial Legal Service. A first-class magistrate is appointed by the YDPA on the recommendation of the respective Chief Judge for federal territories. At the state level, they are appointed by state authorities with recommendation of the Chief Judge. Magistrate courts have two types of magistrate courts, which are first-class and second-class magistrate, which both of them have a general jurisdiction to try civil and criminal cases. A first-class magistrate has original and appellate jurisdiction. The original jurisdiction may be over a civil or criminal action. For criminal matters, under original jurisdiction, Section 85 of Subordinate Courts Act 1948 provides that a first-class magistrate may try all offences punishable with up to 10 years imprisonment or with fine only the offences related under Section 392 robbery and Section 457, which is lurking, house trespass or housebreaking by night of the Penal Code. Section 87 subsection 1 of the Subordinate Courts Act 1984 provides that a first-class magistrate may pass any sentence allowed by law not exceeding 5 years imprisonment, a fine of 10,000 ringgit, whipping up to 12 strokes, or any sentence combining any of the sentence aforesaid. However, if the magistrate considers, based on any previous convictions or antecedents of the convicted person, a punishment in excess that prescribed in Section 87 subsection 1 of the Subordinate Courts Act is appropriate, the magistrate may award the full punishment allowed by the law, but he or she must record his or her reasons for doing so. For civil matters, under original jurisdiction according to Section 90 of Subordinate Courts Act 1948, a first-class magistrate has jurisdiction to try all actions where the amount in dispute or value of the subject matter does not exceed 100,000 ringgit. A first-class magistrate has jurisdiction to hear and determine both civil and criminal appeals from any decision of the Penghulu's court within the local limits of his or her jurisdiction. The magistrate may dismiss a criminal appeal if he or she considers there is no sufficient ground for interfering. If the appeal is against a conviction, the magistrate may reverse the finding and sentence and acquit and discharge the appellant, order retrial by a court of competent jurisdiction of or after the finding, and make such order as he or she deems fit. Meanwhile, a second-class magistrate has only original jurisdiction. Under Section 92 of Subordinate Courts Act 1948, a second-class magistrate has jurisdiction to try actions of a civil nature where the plaintiff seeks to recover a debt or liquidated demand in money not exceeding 3,000 ringgit payable by the defendant. The criminal jurisdiction of a second-class magistrate is to try offences for which the maximum penalty is 12 months imprisonment, of which are punishable with a fine only based on the Section 88 of Subordinate Court Acts 1948. If the magistrate thinks that the accused, if convicted, deserve a penalty which exceeds his or her powers of punishment, the case must be adjourned for trial by a first-case magistrate. A second-class magistrate may pass any sentence allowed by law not exceeding 6 months imprisonment, a fine not exceeding 1,000 ringgit, or any sentence combining either or of these sentences based on Section 88 of Subordinate Courts Act 1948. Now, based on the situation, since Peng Churi is charged for robbery under Section 392 of Penal Code, first-class magistrate has the jurisdiction to try the case as its power to try the offences related under Section 392 is conferred by Section 85. Even though the punishment stated under Section 392 exceed the sentence allowed by law under Section 87 subsection 1 Subordinate Courts Act 1948, the magistrate may award the full punishment allowed by the law with a condition he or she must record his or her reason for doing so. His case cannot be tried within appellate jurisdiction or first-class magistrate because it is not an appeal case from any decision of Penghulu Court. Second-class magistrate has no power to try his case within criminal jurisdiction since the court has no power to try the offences under Section 392 of Penal Code. In conclusion, the court that can hear his case is the first-class magistrate court. Next is the answer for question 3b. If he is not satisfied with the judgment of the court, which court can he appeal to? Discuss the criminal jurisdiction of the court. The answer is, if he is not satisfied with the judgment of the court, he cannot appeal to the session court as the court has no appellate jurisdiction. The court that he may appeal is the High Court. According to Section 22, subsection 1, subsection A, Courts of Judicature Act 1964, the court's criminal jurisdiction extends to both citizens and non-citizens, as well as offences committed within its jurisdiction. The criminal jurisdiction also covers on the high seas on board any ships or aircraft registered in Malaysia and by any citizen or permanent resident on the high seas on board any ship or aircraft and by any person on the high seas where the offence is piracy. Meanwhile, according to Section 22, subsection 1, subsection B, Courts of Judicature Act 1964, the criminal jurisdiction of the court applies to Malaysian citizens and permanent residents as well as offences committed outside the country extraterritorial jurisdiction. The High Court also has the power to impose the maximum sentence to the offended person according to Section 22, subsection 2, Courts of Judicature Act 1964. For the appeal process of criminal cases, it has stated under Section 26, Courts of Judicature Act 1964, whereby the High Court can hear appeals from the subordinate courts within the jurisdiction of the High Court. There are also limitations on the appealing process. This has mentioned that any offence punishable with the amount fine not exceeding 25 ringgit cannot proceed the appeal hearing to the High Court. Also, the person who has pleaded guilty cannot make an appeal of his case, except with the legality of the sentence to the offended person. This court also cannot hear appeals from cases in which the person was found not guilty unless with the request of the public prosecutor. In conclusion, the High Court is the court that has the jurisdiction to hear the appeal of Peng Chu Ri's case. That's all from us. Thank you for listening, and I wish you have a good day.